This program is brought to you by IG. Trade over 12,000 shares and ETFs, including major tech giants with extended hours on an award-winning platform. IG, where traders are made.
It is BHP is our stock of the day. Now, global oversupply of nickel has prompted it to suspend its mining of the metal as it forecasts an underlying full-year loss on nickel of $450 million. Its West Musgrave project in WA will be mothballed from October, and it will also suspend operations at its Kwinana nickel refinery and Kalgoorlie smelter. About 400 workers will stay on at its nickel operations in the hope that market conditions may improve sufficiently for a restart at the beginning of 2027. BHP's asset president for Australia, Geraldine Slattery, is saying, like others in the Australian nickel sector, we've not been able to overcome the substantial economic challenges driven by a global oversupply of nickel. She went on further to say every frontline employee will be offered another role in BHP, and best endeavours will also be made to identify redeployment opportunities for other employees engaged in the day-to-day operations of WA Nickel. So, as I mentioned, it is down today around 0.33%. So, let's see what our experts think about that move by the company, strategically at least, and more broadly what they're seeing with BHP. Jonathan, what are your thoughts?
So I was here last week. We talked about BHP. It is quite a large shutdown, but 450 million loss versus its annual revenue. You can see that market initially sold off and it's brought it back higher. We're still at the bottom end of the range, and I do think that it's still a great company. It is the leader in the space, so I still maintain that buy that I had last week. So use this opportunity to top up. They do have the options on it, so there should be some volatility and sell some puts on it.
Now, you brought a chart along, so we might just go to that, take a look at it. Now, we spoke about this last week too, that range, the levels that you can buy at, the levels you can sell at. Yeah. Do you maintain that?
Absolutely. So Koshi was buy 42, sell at 50. He loves that story. So we're here at 43.40 thereabouts. So lower end of the range, it's the buy area.
All right. Unfortunately, we can't bring that chart up, but yeah, okay. So you stick to that.
Yeah.
More broadly, then, particularly what you're seeing with iron ore, and I guess unlike a company like Rio or Fortescue, it has a greater diversity of assets there. Is that certainly a benefit for the company?
Oh, absolutely. It's just the investing 101. You want to be diversified. Yep. So nickel takes a hit, but they have plenty more irons in the fire.
Yeah. So to speak, Junbei, what are your thoughts?
Look, I absolutely agree with BHP call. It is a strong buy. We always want to see miner to be rational. So when times the prices just doesn't justify the operations, to cut it, and it definitely shows the capital discipline. And I actually think that's the right thing to do given where the nickel price is. Gone are days where we saw those flying prices from a couple of years ago when where IGO bought out the western areas, and these days aren't likely to return. So I think that's a good move by the company. Now, more importantly, I think for resources, most of the resources have underperformed the market quite meaningfully and substantially, really. Whereas the underlying commodity prices actually hasn't been too bad. We look at the iron ore and others have stabilizing at a pretty good level, and China is slowly turning, but it is slowly turning. And global slowdown in terms of economic slowdown has been not too bad. So with all that in mind, I do think the resources as a sector is looking very, very attractive, particularly BHP, which has underperformed quite a lot, even against Rio, because of its bid for Anglo American, and obviously since then showed capital discipline again, walking away. So for investors, this is actually a really good way to play diversified sort of miner and get a good exposure to copper, not pure play copper, but good exposure to copper. And also we're heading into a reporting season where they will pay big dividends, those big miners. So, I do expect these companies to start outperforming in the weeks leading up to their announcement, perhaps next few weeks.
Interesting, isn't it, what we're seeing, particularly with those commodity prices having come off, and there's news reports this morning potentially from Citi suggesting that Rio could look to pick up Arcadium Lithium.
Look, Rio has been very, very interested in that space, and previously they have voiced their interest in the whole lithium space. Now, the lithium market is quite interesting at the moment. In China, the problem is the price is showing no slowdown in falling, and at the same time, where there's a lot of supply continue to come to the market, and that is a challenge. So I do think the M&A will continue in this space because the price is hitting very low, and Rio has previously talked to wanting to buy, and then we also see a lot of super fund also sitting on the register of those larger names such as Pilbara. M&A is definitely going to heat up in that space.
So given BHP missed out on Anglo, is that seen as positive then?
Positive for BHP.
Do you view that perhaps the fact they have missed out on it,
sure.
that for the share price and sort of more immediately?
Yeah, that's right. So we saw a bit of move, but it's absolutely should move higher relative to Rio. I think underperformed quite meaningfully, in their bids, and now it's definitely should outperform Rio relatively.
All right. Well, that is the view on BHP. Just to clarify, that was a buy then?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. It's a double buy for our stock of the day, BHP.
This program was brought to you by IG, Australia's #1 CFD provider. Trade over 17,000 markets with extended hours on key US shares and competitive spreads, all on an award-winning platform. IG, where traders are made.